She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks for joining us today. You know what? I woke up this morning thinking about you. And I also thought about, when I thought about you, I thought about so many people perhaps that are coming against you, that there's something inside of you that you want to do, and yet maybe there isn't people around you that are supporting that dream. Do you have a vision, and in that vision you have no support? You have nobody that is cheering you on? You have nobody that is saying you can make it, you can do it? If you found yourself in that place today, what I want to say to you is that today is the show that is dedicated to you. Let's talk about that dream that's inside of you. What is it that your Creator, when He knitted you together in your mother's womb, what is it that He planted inside of you? I want to hear what that is. And let's together support the dream that's inside of each other. You know, I remember when I first started out as a broke, homeless cocktail waitress and having everybody against me, including, I remember I had started in the weight loss business and I was 180 pounds. The product that I was licensing from somebody else didn't work for me. I didn't like the taste of it. It gave me a lot of gas. It wasn't something I was passionate about. However, it helped me to no longer be homeless. So I'm working full-time as a cocktail waitress. I'm working part-time and building a clientele. And I remember walking into work one day and the cook had seen an ad in the paper that I had been running. And it was a good size ad. It was what they call a 2 by 2.5 column inch ad. So it was about this big. And it had my little advertisement on there. And he saw the ad. And as soon as I walked into work that day, he's looking at the paper and he's like, he was chuckling, laughing. And I'm like, what are you laughing about? And he turns the paper over. He goes, is this you? And I said, as a matter of fact, it is. And he says, and you actually think that's going to work? I can't believe that you're doing that. And look at you, Dani. You are a fat chick. How could you be helping anybody lose weight? Don't you think that's kind of hypocritical? Whew, man, that message stung. But you know what is so amazing? Is that even though he did not support me that day, and even though I was the laughing stock of the bar that day, even though there was all kinds of digs and dumps on my character and attacking what my weight problem was and telling me that I was stupid for even trying to fix my weight problem or even trying to fix my financial situation, even though there was no support from anybody at my job, of which I spent 12-hour shifts at, by the way, not making anything per hour, just making tips. Even though that was the case, something fueled me that day. And it wasn't so much about proving to the people at work that I was going to make it, but I switched the downcasting of my people that I worked with, my coworkers. I took the downcasting and I used it as a platform to lift me up to get out of that place and to not be that person. Because there really are people that are dream stealers out there. And guess what? They're kind of supposed to be out there. They're there for a purpose. They're there to challenge you. They are there even to plant seed of fear and even doubt. They are there to question you. And see, those questions, I believe, can be used as a purpose to fuel you to say, yes, and this is why I'm going to do this. So I'm happy to say that, yeah, you know, that month that chef or that cook, you know, who was flipping burgers and frying French fries and, you know what I'm saying, cooking up some steaks for people, who knows what it is that he was making, that he was putting down on my goal for that year, putting down on a dream of me not struggling with my weight any longer, me being able to fix my finances and pay off my debt, which at the time was a $35,000 debt, which seemed like a gigantic mountain of debt for me. After my husband had left and I had $2.03 to my name, that $35,000 debt, I was living in the back of my Hyundai. That was my house and my transportation. My dream that year was to never return to broke again. And yes, there was no support, including even family. So even when I was homeless, for example, before I moved into my apartment, I remember calling, because it was right at Christmas time, I remember calling my aunt and talking to her about my situation and saying, please send me whatever money you would have spent on me for a Christmas gift. Please don't send me the gift. Please just send me the cash. She goes, well, you were not on my Christmas list this year. I'm like, what? I said, okay, well, please don't send me a card. Whatever the $2 would be that you would send, that you would buy a card. Please just send me the cash. Don't send me the card. She says, I wasn't sending you a card this year. I was like, talk about feeling unsupported. But I got to tell you, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, friend. It was, because I had no other option but to help myself. I had to take personal responsibility for the fact that I met and married a guy that I only knew for 7 days. I had to take personal responsibility for the fact that I allowed my credit to go to a $35,000 debt. I allowed this stranger into my bank account. These were my decisions that I made, and therefore the consequences of my personal decisions was homeless. I am not a victim. I was homeless because of my choices. And as soon as I began to own those choices, and I also had to suffer through the consequences of my choices, it was there at that point that I knew that if I could get myself into that mess, by golly, I'm going to have to get myself out of it. So even the rejection of my husband, my first husband, even though I had the failure financially, these things began to fuel me. And I want to be a part of fueling you and I fueling each other on what dream it is that we have this year or in 10 years or in 20 years, whatever that bucket list is that you have on your bucket list. Let's talk with one another today. You and I having a one-on-one conversation or even a group conversation with other people, inviting into the conversation is what is in your heart to do. Because I know that when somebody has a dream, they are surrounded by people that want to tout that dream, come down on that dream. They want to derail the dream. They want to put some fear on top of it, like some salt and pepper. They want to pepper it with some doubt. They want to sell you against the dream. Why? Because they don't have a dream themselves. I'm happy to say that same month that guy, that cook flipping burgers, is making fun of my ad. Yeah. Well, I made $6,500 that month on the side, working 10 hours a week. And so it was like a 3-week period. So in 30 hours, I made $6,540 on top of my tits, on top of the $1,500 that I made as a cocktail waitress. That next month, I made over $10,000. That was the month of February. I made over $10,000 on the side, working 10 hours a week. Hello? Still keeping my full-time job, working 12-hour shifts 5 days a week. And so that man did me a great favor of fueling the dream that was inside of me. And today I want us to fuel the dream with each other. So here's what we're going to do. It's an open line day here on the Dani Johnson Show. My phone number is 315-1557. I want you to share with me the dream that is in you. I don't care how wild and crazy it is. I want to hear about it. And why? Because I feel like when somebody else has a dream and there's a dreamer out there that's hearing somebody else's dream, it inspires them to go for it. And today is a day that we need to thrive, and we need to not just survive. This is the day that we're going to thrive in that dream, and us just talking about it fuels it. And then we begin to take steps in the right direction towards it. So today on the Dani Johnson Show, we are going to obliterate the status quo of success, because the status quo of success is what? It's a bunch of baloney. It is. It's about what society has sold us should be our dream. That our dream should be about a fancy car. Our dream should be about a fancy house. Our dream should be about making millions of dollars. But what's on the other side of that dream so often is a miserable life. Tons of debt. Why? Because people have not learned how to go after the dream, but instead they've learned to go into debt for the dream, which now turns into a nightmare. So I'm talking about the full picture of success, obliterating what society has sold us. Here, MasterCard can buy you that. Baloney. What if we could show you how to increase your income to go out and accomplish that dream? What if you could learn how to no longer be financially strapped, but be financially independent? What would you do with the money if you actually had it? If you actually had the opportunity to increase your income, what would you do with the money? Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? Who do you want to do it with? So I want us to share a dream together today, because we're going to inspire other people to dream. There's so few places where there is support of a person's dream, but there is a dime a dozen of places of people telling their husbands or telling their wives or even telling their kids they're not going to make it, they're never going to amount to anything, it's never going to work, it's never going to happen for you, all of that nonsense. So here we go. I'm going over to the phones. We've got 3 people on hold right now. Call in if you have the courage and you want to give life to the dream that is in you. The best way to give life to it is to start talking about it. When you start talking about it, it starts to come alive. 830-315-1557. If you end up on our voicemail, just leave us a message. Tell me what the dream is. Tell me what your dream is. I want to hear about it. And let's just see how we might be able to help each other in accomplishing those dreams. So first, we've got Christal from Quebec. Christal, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Thank you.
Hi. Okay, come on. Tell me, what is the dream that is in you?
So my dream for 2018 is to bring my husband to my second first steps to success, but his first. And I was in San Diego on the weekend, and it was completely life-changing. And I came home a completely different woman. Wow. And I thank you so much for that. I went for business development and to have more confidence in my business, and I left learning how to pay off my debt, and I learned who I was with my gem and who my husband was, and yes. I had to humble myself and come home and apologize for the way I have treated him, not knowing who he truly was. And seeing it in my children as well. I have 4 kids under 10, and just to see who they are. And so I told my husband this year we are going to First Steps together in Dynasty, and I want to go to the Marriage Secret. So that is my goal for 2018 with my husband.
That's so exciting. That's really, really exciting. So you were just at the San Diego First Steps to Success, and so something really impacted you to the point where you're like, honey, we have to do this. But tell me why. Do you want to be debt-free? Like, what's the overall goal of, because again, in order to attend Hot Marriage Secrets, you have to be Dynasty grads. Like, nobody is allowed to go through that event unless they're Dynasty grads. So what is the main reason that you have for wanting to attend these events?
Well, we want to be completely debt-free. I actually brought home the War on Debt, and we watched it together, and we went through the book together, and we found $3,000 of fat.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And we had no idea where that money was going. We were just living paycheck to paycheck, and we were blown away by the fat that we found. And so we are estimating that within 7 months, we're going to be debt-free from all commercial debt, not including our mortgage.
Wow.
But all of credit card debt and a line of credit. So,
wow. Okay, hold on one second. I want to keep this conversation going. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show. Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities. And they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Okay, wow. Okay, so listen. Do you have a dream? Is there something inside of you that is burning? Or did you have a dream at one point in your life of what you wanted to do with your life, and somehow you allowed all of the wrong people to crush that thing that was inside of you? People have done that to me. They've done it to you. But today, we're going to resurrect the dream together. We're going to resurrect it. Joining me now from Quebec is Christal. And Christal from Quebec, you were just telling me that you just came on the first steps to success and already found $3,000 worth of fat in your budget. Okay, so someone that's driving in the car right now and they're watching this, or they're listening, they're listening to this on the radio if they're driving in their car. They're like, they don't understand what fat is. So let me just explain that really quick. Okay, so it's money that's going to places that really don't matter. It's like excess. It's like waste in food. It's waste in maybe some entertainment places. It's waste in conveniences. You know, it's waste in $200 a month on your Starbucks habit. It's going to places that are not feeding the fire and the dream that's in you. So look at that, Christal, $3,000 worth of fat. And that was your very first time going through War on Debt and actually looking. Could you imagine when you and your husband go back through a second time, third, you're going to find more. You're going to continue to find more. And isn't it crazy to look at, wow, do I need to be spending $3,000 a month in all these wasteful places? What could we possibly do with $3,000 a month? So look, you said within 7 months, consumer debt is gone.
Yes.
Look at how this $3,000 a month could have been spent on what? What else could you guys have been doing with that money?
Right. We could be going to the next first steps to success, or we could be bringing our children on a trip. And I know it was a shock.
So were you really living paycheck to paycheck?
Absolutely. Like, hardly.
Right? I mean, you really weren't. You were choosing to waste the money instead of actually invest the money. So now you guys are learning to invest in yourselves so you can become investors and learning how to create wealth. So is this the dream, is to be financially independent and create wealth?
Yes, absolutely.
What else? What else is in you that you must do?
I think that the whole feeling of coming back from San Diego and being empowered from the spiritual equipping and the gems and the war on debt has really brought us closer together as a couple as well, and to understand each other. And I can only imagine when he experiences that weekend how much more it will change. And our dream is to be able to bring our children on a trip without charging it, being able to invest in real estate. And so my husband is on the cusp of owning his own family business, and so this has been very empowering for him as well.
Man, that's awesome. All right, so taking your kids on a trip. Where, honey? Yes. Where are we going to go?
To Disney World.
Disney World. Okay. And then where's the trip after that? Think bigger than just America. You're from Canada. There's a giant world out there. Where else do you want to take your kids?
We would love to go to Fiji.
Yes.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
I know. And I'm blown away with the opportunity that I know we can do it.
Yes.
See it.
Yes. Yes, you can. Especially with... Yes, you can. And that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. That's exciting. Okay, Christal, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing today. I really appreciate it. I got to tell you that I've had a dream in me about helping to take care of the poor. And as much as that kind of bugs some people, and of course there's some people who want to judge that or want to call me a do-gooder, or, you know, I'm trying to earn my way into heaven. Oh gosh, the different kinds of excuses and judgments that can come upon a person who's wanting to do something that is in their heart to do is endless. It's absolutely endless. But guess what? I don't give a rip, and neither should you. And if you have a heart to do something to help the helpless, join us on rescuing 1,000 sex slaves, little kids, little boys, little girls, out of the sex trade. If you want to do something to make a difference in the world and you don't have a project in hand right now, we got one. Rescue 1,000 kids from the sex trade. You can help us. Let's do it together. Okay, could you imagine rescuing 1,000? It only costs $5,000 to rescue one child, one little boy, one little girl from the sex trade. And what does that mean? Well, first of all, it's the extraction out of a brothel, or a way out of the sex trade. Then in a safe house with food, clothing, shelter, counseling, safety, right? And then depending on their age, training and development. If they're about to hit that age where they're going to have to get in the real world, they need job training away from the job that they've been in. But they need some kind of development and training to help them live in the real world. And of course, all that healing that is so necessary. So if you want to jump on a dream with us, go to kingsransom.org. Kingsransom.org. Give $1, give 10, give 5,000, whatever you got. Let's make a difference. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Hey everybody, my name is Digby, and I'm from New South Wales, Australia. And I'm here live at First Steps to Success. I've been to 6 events now, and my journey started with an encore in Brisbane. And after doing 2 encores in Australia, I just really had to come to a live event, so here I am today. And since attending an encore and getting involved, my income has doubled and my family life is just blossoming. So you have to get that. You just have to experience it.
Prior to getting to Dani Johnson's First Steps to Success, my husband and I were completely broke. We just filed bankruptcy. We lost our home to foreclosure, and we were on food stamps. After the second day of her event, we figured out where all our money was going. We got ourselves out of debt in 3 months. We paid off $18,000 worth of debt and are completely debt-free. And now we've finally created a life of our dreams. We've made a 6-figure business, and we're just doing everything that we want. So if you're thinking about coming to First Steps to Success, you've got to make it happen. Sign up right now and make sure you don't miss it.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was hopelessly lost in addiction. My relationships with people, coworkers, family, friends failed. I was struggling under the bondage of debt, and I had no clear vision or purpose for my life. After taking my first steps to success, I've been able to pay off $7,000 in debt in about 4.5 months. I have a clear vision and purpose for my life. I can honestly say that my addictions are a thing of the past. If you're interested in changing your life in whatever way, in whatever area, you need to log into DaniJohnson.com, and you need to be at the next First Steps to Success.
Prior to coming to First Steps, I was miserable. I never talked to people because I thought I was shy, I thought I was boring, and I thought that I was destined to be alone forever. After coming to First Steps to Success, I broke through all of those lies. I built confidence, and I used the skills that I've learned there to get myself an amazing job where I will be put quickly into a position of leadership. So if you're ready to find out who you are, why you are the way you are, and how to get new skills to dramatically change your life, you need to join me at the very next First Steps to Success. No excuses, no delays, get registered now.
Hi, my name is Paul. I'm from Massachusetts, And before plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was buried under a sea of self-doubt, fear, and my communication skills were non-existent. Sales non-existent as well. But after attending First Steps to Success, my sales have quadrupled, my fear has been lifted, and my relationships are better than ever because I communicate better than ever. If you want your life to turn around, all your dreams start coming to fruition, you are going to be at First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging in to Dani Johnson, my husband and I were drowning in a sea of debt. I had broken relationships all around me of the ones that I cared most about, and I had started a company that was losing more money than it was making. And after plugging into Dani Johnson, we have paid off $196,000 in 13 months. My company has grown 90%, and I have relationships that I could never have even imagined with the ones I care most about around me. So I don't know about you. Maybe you're making all the money you need to. Maybe you're doing great. Maybe your relationships are phenomenal. But if they're not, I encourage you to get to the next first steps to success.
Helping you become all you were meant to be. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Have you been in that place where there's something about to be birthed out of you? No, I'm not talking about a kid, but I am talking about a dream, and you've been afraid to talk about it. Today's the day we're going to talk about it. Call me now, 830-315-1557. Here's what I do know. When you leave the dream in silence, it dies. But when you begin to talk about it, and I know sometimes it's scary to talk about. It is, because you've got all these negative people that are around you. Let the negatives be negative, and why don't you prove them wrong? Prove them wrong. But today, you and I are going to collaborate together. We're going to talk. We're going to dream together. Let's do it. Even your family. Like if you're at home right now and you're watching this on television, get the kids. Get the kids. Crowd them around the TV or around your phone, whichever way it is that you're watching this. And let's start talking about it. Find out even what the dream is that's inside of them. It is so important. Why? Because a man without a vision will perish. And here on the Dani Johnson Show, every single day, we are bringing you topics and messaging to challenge you to get out of your mediocre, average life that you think sucks. But instead, for you to think bigger, to you have faith that is bigger, for you to also impart that faith in a dream inside of your family. We have done this. We stepped out of the life in which we both came from. We used the good that came from each one of the families. In my case, it wasn't all that good. My husband had to come from a much better place. But we used what was good, and we attached ourselves to what could be better. And you can do the same thing. We're going over to Ryan de Kom from the Netherlands. What dream is in you that you must achieve, Ryan?
Hi, Dani.
Hi.
Well, there are so many dreams that I have. For example, one of my dreams is to be financial free.
Tell me why. Why do you want to be financially free, and what does that look like to you?
Yeah, well, for me, one of the main reasons to be financial free has to do with personal growth. Because when I am financial free, I know that I have to develop and grow so much in myself that will result in financial freedom. So for me, it's a very big thing, to grow and use my talent and use the giftings that God has placed in me, and develop the potential, basically, that's in me. So for me, it's really something very deep. And it has to do with growth.
But let's talk about that financial freedom. And I agree with you, because your income follows your personal growth, no question. Your income will follow your personal growth. If your character isn't right, your income ain't going to grow. And if you're not developing leadership skills within you, problem-solving skills, your income is not going to grow. I agree with that. But when you say financial independence, tell me what financial independence means to you. And there's a reason why I'm saying this, Ryan, because you got to get real specific on what it is that you want to achieve. When things stay really vague and really open-ended, we tend not to go after those things. So I'm going to challenge you as your coach today I want you to give me something specific. What does it look like to be financially independent? You just told me the path in which how you want to get there, but I want to know, what does the end look like?
Yeah. Well, for me, there are a few things that are in my mind. One of the things which is very big is to create wealth for all the generations that come after me.
Yes.
So I want all the generations that there will be so much wealth in my family line that there should never be any worry about money. That there would always be this financial growing in my generation line.
Yeah.
Another thing is to the more financial freedom I have, the more people I can help.
Yes.
And I believe that's one of the things that God has given to his children, to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a practical way, to extend that help. So for me, that's one of the things. One of the other things, it's just the freedom that it gives, and for my family to live the way we want to live, to do the things we want to do, of course, in a balanced way.
Yep.
But but the biggest thing for me is to have, it's synced with personal growth. So
Yeah.
I want to stretch myself. I want to be a multi-millionaire, because for me right now it's a crazy big dream. I even can't think about how it will look like when I've achieved.
Yes. Okay. So let me direct you on that, Ryan. And first of all, I'm just really impressed with what's in your heart to do, and the reason why, and that you want to leave a legacy behind for your family. That you don't want them to worry about money, and being a millionaire. Like, wow, that's like a huge thing. But I can tell you, it is a real simple thing, and you're on the right track as far as with personal growth. But it's also professional skill development, developing skills. This is something that, for example, this does not necessarily apply to you, but I want to share it anyway so that you kind of get the analogy. Like right now, we are producing prospecting and closing classes. And so for those people who are in the direct sales industry, or they're selling anything, I don't care if they sell shoes or cars or they sell businesses, it doesn't matter what it is that they sell. But first of all, so the professional skill development. So why am I doing these classes? I want to help some people's businesses grow. This is a dream that I have. I want to help businesses grow. And if I can help people, how do you help businesses grow? It all boils down to sales. It boils down to customers and recruiting talent. That's what every business is wrapped around: recruiting customers, recruiting good talent. And so, for example, my dream is to help people do that. So we're having classes. And so the people who truly want to be financially independent and they have a business, they're in sales, like any way that they can increase their income, then these classes directly help to develop that professional skill of increasing more customers, increasing at recruiting good talent to be able to build the business. So there's the dream, but then there has to be the how-to. How do I get there? What steps do I need to take to get there? And so this is where I'm so excited to be able to work with this smaller group of people. And if you want information on these classes, if you go to DaniJohnson.com, you click on events, you'll see prospecting and closing classes. I don't even know if there's any spots yet available in there because they're small classes where for 4 solid weeks we work one-on-one together. We work in making sure I'm not teaching in this class. No, I'm actually watching you do your work and I'm fine-tuning your job. So just like a basketball coach who is watching the team on the court saying, okay, it's defense, get your hands up. Because sometimes when you're playing the game and you're on defense, you got your hands down, but you don't realize your hands are down. And that's what a coach is for, is to watch you do the activity in which you're supposed to be doing and how you should be doing it so that you can win. And so for you, Ryan, the key is that, yes, okay, becoming a millionaire. We accumulate wealth little by little. So what wealth classes are you taking right now? Are you learning from someone who is wealthy? Are you learning from somebody who loves the same God you learn? Are you learning from somebody who has the kind of family life that you want to have? Because there's a lot of people who can teach you about accumulating wealth, but their life is a mess. And why? Because they've worshiped money. And that goes for religious people and non-religious people. And so you want to make sure that you find a financial coach that actually has the results in all areas of their life, because that's what I'm hearing. You want to live a life with your family. You want to leave a legacy. You don't want to be the rich guy whose family hates them. You want to be somebody that actually sets the kind of example that you want your children to duplicate, the example in which they've seen you do. And so there's all kinds of options out there, which is one of the things I love about my husband. My husband's dream, and mind you, he's a very wealthy man, a very successful man who is already set up, and he's only 45. He's already set up for generations to come, that there is wealth set aside for them and a way for those kids to actually even touch that. There's a system in place that they're not just going to inherit money. They actually have to make the family wealth grow for the next generation. And so I don't know if you've ever heard of Hans Johnson, but if you look up truewealthformula.com, he has an app, and the app is True Wealth Formula. It's actually the #1 wealth app that's out there. It's the #1 rated. I mean, he doesn't even know how that happened, but people have been going crazy over this app. He actually recently helped a widow of 2 little kids actually get her finances in order and create wealth, which is crazy. And this woman was like, she did not know at all how to be able to do this. She was completely overwhelmed, and she was hemorrhaging financially $1,000 a month. And here he has guided her through classes and some one-on-one coaching on how to be able to create wealth for herself, which is an amazing thing to be able to do for a widow. So this is where, again, somebody has a dream, okay, to create wealth, and then somebody else has a dream to help people create wealth. Look at that collaboration that come together by you simply talking about the dream. So there's options out there. There really, really is. And if you don't like working with Hans Johnson, find somebody else, but you make sure they have the results that you want, because not everybody does. My first millionaire person that I learned from had a crap life, but lots of money. So guess what I duplicated? Lots of money and a crap life. That's not what you want. That's not what you're called to. So when I'm hearing the calling of it being about the family, it being about helping people, it being about generations, that's a very rare person to be able to find, to learn from. Very rare. Those are like not even 1 in 1,000. Take all the millionaires, take all the people who are wealthy, because a millionaire definitely is not necessarily wealthy, but take all of the most successful people in the world and find those who actually have that balance. It's very few. Hans Johnson is one of them. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show. Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
My name is Mario Johns. I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I just want to share with you on April 14, 2013, that was the first day I heard the name Dani Johnson. And I was so inspired by her story, and I just had to find out, how did she go from homeless to millionaire? And it was just so inspiring to me. So I went on DaniJohnson.com, and I started getting the daily emails, the daily fixes. And then after a while, I just stopped reading them for some reason. And August of 2013, it was 4 days before my first event. After work, I went on YouTube, and I typed in Dani Johnson's name, came to my mind, so I typed it in on YouTube, and I sat at my kitchen table for about an hour and just listened to testimonial after testimonial. And I was just so inspired. I'm like, I have to get to this First Steps to Success. And I had no money. I didn't know how I was going to get there. The funny thing was, a week prior to this day, I got a credit card in the mail that I never asked for. It was a $1,200 credit limit. I was going to cut it up, but I figured I'd save it for like the emergency. I got my event ticket, my flight, and my hotel room. I maxed that sucker out, and I came down to Dallas, Texas. And the first 3 hours of the first day, I was just like in tears the whole time. I was just so blown away. It was something that I was just so hungry for. And prior to plugging in, I was a depressed, hopeless, suicidal drug addict. I hated myself, I hated life, I hated other people. I felt like a slave to debt, and I actually accepted debt as part of my life. I had toxic relationships, and I was, and then since plugging in, I've been drug-free for 15 and a half months now. I paid off over $13,000 worth of debt in a little over 13 months. I've completely restored my relationships with my family, my friends. I have amazing friends today from around the world. I love my life, and this is just an honor to be up on this stage. But if I just want to say, if you're new here, one thing that I wish I did is one of my favorite products is War on Debt, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't been following that as like I should be. My first event, if I got War on Debt and followed that with diligence, today I'd be debt-free. So I just want to encourage you, if you're new here and you have debt, I highly recommend getting that, because that's, by the end of this year, I want to be debt-free, and that's my goal. So please help me welcome back to the stage America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
It's time to dream bigger. There was a man who I met who was a perfect stranger who asked me the question, what is in your heart to do? What's your dream? And my answers were pretty sad and pathetic, but I was 19 at the time, maybe almost 20. And he said to me, what do you want to do? Well, I want to make $10,000 a month. He's like, bigger than that. All right, I want to drop $4,000 in Nordstrom's like it's hot. I want to, a shopping spree, just spend $4,000 in Nordstrom in one day. Bigger than that. I'm like, okay, I want to drive a Mercedes. Bigger than that. Ed, like there's nothing bigger to a 20-year-old. Like there's nothing bigger to a 20-year-old than those things. I kind of was frustrated with him and he was asking me the question. And he told me, Dani, you're going to do far greater things than that. And he said a few other things that day, but he birthed a dream in me to think bigger, to think bigger. And by golly, I am so glad he did that to me. I wouldn't be where I'm at today had he not challenged me with the statement, bigger than that, bigger than that, bigger than that. I'm challenging you today. Bigger than that. Here on the Dani Johnson Show, we want to stretch you to be beyond where you're at, to be better, to be different, to not follow in the footsteps of 98% of the population who ends up dead or dead broke by the age of 65, depending on their family, friends, and federal government for their main source of income. You were not put on this earth to be broke. You were not put on this earth to be average and mediocre and have a crappy life. You were also not put on this earth to be wealthy and have a crappy life, because there's lots of people who have that too. You're put on this earth with a destiny in mind. There's a calling out to you. What is that calling? We've got Alex Solis from Texas. Alex, what's in you? What is the dream in you that you must accomplish?
Hey, Dani. My dream is really to be the hands and feet of Jesus, specifically being able to travel the world and heal in any way that I can. Right now, I'm 18 years old. I'm not like pulling my own strings or anything, but I just want to say that age is literally just a number.
Yeah, it is. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But I don't want just financial freedom. I want balance in my family, in my relationships, and really every area in my life. And so I started network marketing, and I really want to see my team walk free from financial bondage and be home with their kids. I'm going to chiropractic school in the next 2 years or so I can have the skills. But I want to be able to pay cash for chiropractic school.
Yeah.
And in the future take my family on mission trips and just go heal people and give them the gospel, prophesy, pray over people and heal them.
Yes.
And financially and really personally develop myself so I can break the generational curses or anything that really hold my future children from being held back. Because just hearing my parents, they opened up to me finally the last couple years about their past, and they're both Hispanic, and they both lived in not such a good, they didn't grow up in the best families, and so they both had like sexual abuse and things like that in the past, and really just hearing that is like, okay, it's like the day that I learned my parents weren't perfect.
Okay, so Alex, I have a question for you. I love, first of all, I am so excited for you, and you are 18 years old, and you've got the rest of your life to be able to dream and to go after it. So here's what I want to do. I want to narrow this sucker down and make it really simple to action items, to steps that got to be taken with deadlines, with dates, with very, very specific things that must get done by a certain time. Okay, so there's a lot that you've said, and I believe 1,000% you're going to be able to do it. So number one, you said that you want to travel the world. The world is a very generic term. Where's the first place you're going, Alex?
India.
And when are you going, Alex?
2020.
2020. What month, what day are you leaving, Alex? Are you understanding me?
Oh.
It's taken the dream. Listen, it's taken the pie out of the sky. What ingredients do I need to make the pie that's in the sky? Right? If I'm making a blueberry pie, I need blueberries, I need flour, I need sugar, I need some butter, I need a little bit of salt, I need some coconut oil, because that's what I use to make my pie crust. Okay, so this is, I have to buy the ingredients. I need a recipe, right? I need an oven. I need a pie pan. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So you want to travel the world. You see, this vague statement is what causes people from 18 to 55 to have never done it, because it's not specific. So until it becomes specific, it will never become dynamic. So nothing becomes dynamic until it becomes specific. So you'll be in India, what month, what day, for how long of 2020?
January 1st through 31st.
Okay. So the next step is to look at plane tickets. Just to research plane tickets, to research where you're actually going to go. How much money do you need for accommodations? Do you understand? Now you start an India fund. Now that business that you have has a purpose to get you to India January 1st through the 31st, because you need X amount of dollars to be able to do that. So you start putting money away every day for that fund.
Yes, ma'am.
Understood? Otherwise, guess what? You'll be like your parents who had a dream when they were 18 and never accomplished it because they let life get in the way. So you said also that you're going to go to chiropractic school. Why are you waiting?
I'm doing my basics, the prerequisites right now.
Okay. So when is going to be your first class? What school are you going to be attending?
It's going to be Parker University in Dallas, and it's going to be 2019 is going to be the year that I start.
Okay. So that's less than 2 years. Okay. So then you said you want to go to college. You want to pay cash for college. So what should there be another fund for?
For my college funds.
Right. So there should be another fund that you're putting money towards. How often?
Every week, every day.
Right. So rather than doing what most kids do your age, they eat out and they do Starbucks or they hang out in coffee places, right? They're spending money and gas going and doing things that are wasting money and time. Now you're going to take that money away from those conveniences and it's going in the chiropractic fund and the India fund. Now what you have to look at is how can you be in chiropractic school and in India at the same time?
Right.
Right? So you're going to have to pick a time when you're not in school to go to India, right?
Exactly.
Do you understand? See how this happens? We just start living life and we forgot about the dream. And because we pick dates even that maybe collide in each other, so now it's like, man, look at your calendar for 2020. When will you not be in classes for a solid month, and when are you going to begin to practice it? You know what I mean? To begin to practice it. Here's another thing. You want to bring healing around the world. Well, where are you living right now?
Arlington, Texas.
Okay, but is Arlington, Texas in the world?
Yes, ma'am.
Who are you laying hands on and praying for now? Who are you prophesying over now? You got to start practicing these things out today because you're already in the world. Arlington, Texas is in the world, right? So you got to start walking in that place now. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
Start reading along those lines. Start studying along those lines, but practicing it now. Now. Don't wait until you go to India. No, get lots of practice in between now and India. Don't wait till you get your chiropractic license. No, there's other things you can be doing to bring healing to people. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
The next segment might just change your life. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Prior to getting started with DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, we were spending absolutely every dime that we made. We were really struggling financially. Since plugging in to First Steps to Success just 4 months ago, we started a brand new business that is doing very, very well. We've paid off $4,500 in debt, but the most important thing is my relationship with my husband has improved like dramatically. I mean, we have so much more fun together. You know, I don't know about you, maybe your finances, you're doing great, maybe you're debt-free, maybe your relationships with your spouse, with your family are great. But if not, if you have some areas in your life that feel a little out of control or there's things that you need to work on, I highly recommend getting to First Steps to Success as soon as you can.
Prior to being dragged out to First Steps to Success, I was hopeless. I had no point to life. It was a day-to-day existence, working a job I despised for people I didn't respect. Deeper and deeper debt every year. You just couldn't get on top of it. I just had no hopes or dreams, none at all, and there was no point to life. But since coming out, we paid off $280,000 worth of debt, married the woman of my dreams. I came to love my job and the people I work for. I have all kinds of hopes and dreams. I get to watch them happen every day. I don't know what your life is like, you know. There's probably tons of hope. You probably know why you live and you got places you're going, but if you don't, you need to sign up for First Steps to Success. You go to DaniJohnson.com and you click on it and be here, because your life will not be the same if you do.
Prior to First Steps to Success, I was drowning in debt, I was terrified of my bills, and I wanted to travel, but I never had the money. And since coming to First Steps to Success, in the last 14 months, I've paid off over $18,000 in debt. I've gone on 6 vacations, and I'm not terrified of my bills anymore. So if you want to learn some proven strategies to really learn how to connect with people, take your life to the next level, all while having a total blast, you need to get registered for the next First Steps to Success today.
Prior to coming to First Steps to Success, we were totally struggling, totally under the weight of $640,000 worth of debt, making $20,000 a month, but living paycheck to paycheck. So when we came here, and I realized that it takes a totally different skill set to keep money, to create wealth, than it is to make money, I have totally turned around our lifestyle. We have paid off $640,000 worth of debt in 2 years. We are debt-free as of June of 2013. I don't know where you're at. You might have all your finances in order. You might have a wonderful life. Your marriage might be all perfect and your kids are behaving. But if not, if one of those things is lacking, you gotta get here. Book your next event. You need to be here. You will not regret it.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
I don't know about you, but there's a dream in me, and there is one in you. Whether or not you've discovered it, whether or not you've ignored it, whether or not you've given life to it, I challenge you today, give birth to a dream. I don't care how crazy it sounds. I don't care whether or not you have the skills to be able to do it. In fact, a real dream means you don't have the skills to do it. Yeah. If it's a real dream, you actually can't do it right now with who you are. It's impossible for you to accomplish that dream. A dream should never be based on whether or not you think you can do it. A dream, a real dream, means that you know you can't do it. A dream is planted inside of all of us humans to cause us to grow, to stretch ourselves, to develop the skills that we need to develop so that we can accomplish something great. Most people just sit and do nothing with their lives. They're sitting in front of the television, waiting for the next show. Friend, that's not the calling on your life. There's so much more to life than a 9-to-5 job and Netflix after work. There's so much more to life than a 10-to-6 job and watching Amazon Prime. There's so much more to life than video games. There's so much more to life than sitting around the table and gossiping about family members. You were put on this earth for a purpose. Let's live it out. Let's get specific with it. Let's set deadlines for it, and let's go after it. And it's really important for you to surround yourself with people who are going to fan the flames of that dream, who are going to ask you about that dream, who are going to encourage you about that dream. And guess what? It's also important for those who are going to press against you and tell you that you can't make it happen. Yes, that's important too. Why? Because it starts to push in you why you must do it, why you must show them that you have done it. That's happened a lot in my life, whether I tried to make that happen or not. But the bottom line is, you'll be the one who inspires everybody, or you'll be like everybody else doing nothing. It's your choice. It's your life. This is your script. You're writing it. You're writing your own book about your life. How do you want it to be, chapter by chapter? Choice is yours. I'm Dani Johnson. The website is DaniJohnson.com. If you want help achieving any of those dreams, go to the website. There's so much information there. There's classes to help you with your business. There's seminars to be able to help you learn how to become financially independent. This is not a rah-rah session, friend. This is actually, we're rolling up our sleeves and we're going to work. You're learning practical things that even your children can understand, and they actually implement faster than the adults do. This is teaching and training and skill development so that you do not stay the same. Our next training seminar is February 23rd, 24th, and 25th. This is your shot. Yes, it's short notice, but guess what? How long do you have left on this planet? You don't know. So here's what I do know. You're put on notice right now. This is your shot. This is your chance. Quit wasting time with wanting things to be convenient for you. This is it. We'll see you at First Steps to Success in Dallas, Texas, and we'll talk to you tomorrow with the next Dani Johnson Show.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been the Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.